11 top stories. St. Kitts and Nevis host meetings with aviation stakeholders. Clash kills 8 in Brazil prison. And Duterte to arrive in China for a state visit. Good afternoon. Welcome to the ZIZ Midday Newscast. Today is Tuesday, October 18th, 2016. I am Shaira Flanders. Nationally, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Aviation of St. Kitts and Nevis is hosting the 7th Eastern Caribbean Network Technical Group meeting and the 5th Eastern Caribbean Radar Data Sharing Ad Hoc Group meeting here in St. Kitts and Nevis under the auspices of the International Civil Aviation Organization, or ICAO. Ms. Kay Bass, Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Aviation, delivered brief remarks and declared the first meeting open on October 17th at the Ocean Terrace Inn. During these remarks, Ms. Bass stated that St. Kitts and Nevis is playing its small but integral part in facilitating partnerships between ICAO and other stakeholders, both nationally and regionally, by hosting the two meetings. The aim of the meeting is to create a forum for reviewing current civil aviation measures, update stakeholders on civil aviation issues, and discuss all civil aviation matters which impact the local civil aviation industry. On Wednesday, 19th October 2016, the second meeting, the 5th Eastern Caribbean Radar Data Sharing Ad Hoc Group meeting, will begin at the same venue. Participants from both meetings include OECS member countries, Trinidad and Tobago, United States of America, United Kingdom and France, the Eastern Caribbean Civil Aviation Authority, ECCAA, and the International Federation of Airline Pilots Association, IFALPA, are also represented. As the tourism sector continues to show significant growth, the private sector is expected to continue to play an integral role so that economic development can be sustained. During a recent interview with the St. Kitts and Nevis Information Service, or SKNIS, Hilary Hazel, Financial Secretary, said that although the government is not directly involved in the construction of any hotels, it still plays a significant role in the sector.
You would not find government investing in, say, building a hotel plant, but government has a very robust concessions regime that is targeted at the private sector playing its part to build the infrastructure that is needed for directly servicing the tourism sector. But we have, in terms of cruise tourism, still on the books. It would not factor necessarily into the capital program of the central government, but it's a part of the public sector investment program, which would be carried more than likely by SCASPA as the lead public agency.
Commenting on the budget estimates meetings held last week, the Financial Secretary said that because of the nature of the meetings and the fact that the private sector's role in relation to tourism and sector is so vital, the meetings will not have in-depth discussions as it relates to the tourism sector in terms of the actual dollar amount. As the fight against breast cancer continues in our federation, the Pink Lily Cancer Care Foundation has once again stepped forward in an attempt to create awareness through a new campaign dubbed Changing the Face of Cancer. The campaign is aimed at providing knowledge to help individuals gain understanding of how exercise can promote good health and well-being before, during, and after illness. Founder of Pink Lily Cancer Care, Lee Paris Cambridge, told the ZIZ of some of the activities which the organization will be doing throughout the campaign.
October is recognised internationally as Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and so what Pink Lily is doing this month is hosting a walkathon, which we do every year, and this one is entitled Together We Can Build It, because our ultimate goal is to build a Pink Lily Cancer Support Centre and a care retreat in Nevis for the people of St. Kitts and Nevis. And that's going to be held on the 22nd of October, which is this Saturday, and registration is on Wednesday the 19th and Friday the 21st in Memorial Square, Charlestown, Nevis. Registration is only 45 EC for adults and 35 for children.
Cambridge also said that persons who would like to be a part of the campaign are more than welcomed.
On the registration days, I'm going to actually have some volunteer sign-up forms so they can come along and sign up to be a volunteer, and then they can let us know what their interest in is. It could be they might be interested in public speaking, so they might want to be an awareness coordinator or help us to go around the islands in community centres, churches, schools. They can do anything, whatever their skills, their talents are, their interests are, or anything they want, and we train also. So we train all of our volunteers, so whatever their interests are, or if they just want to help, or they're passionate about the cause, they can come along and or just give us a phone call, and we're happy for anyone to come on and support the cause.
The Pink Lily Cancer Care Foundation has been in existence for the last 9 years.
Look at this. Somebody come look at this.
Surprise, Miss Button entertainment lies. Can't improvise cause there's so much inside. Fashion is style, word on the street will make you smile. People show youth awareness, interest in the fashion closet, and many more that you cannot resist. Now, for young and old, it's not my show, that's how we roll. What's up?
Hi, I'm Carla Berridge. Join me weekdays at 7 p.m. for Zeliza's evening newscast. We'll let you know what's happening in your community.
And onto the regional scene in Guyana. A suspect has been detained after an older woman was found dead after she was reportedly beaten to death. More on that story.
A 56-year-old Myconi businesswoman who recently celebrated her birthday was found dead in her Nova Myconi home after the suspected killers rummaged through her home in search of valuables. She is Bibi Shakila Ali. The woman's battered body was found by her teen neighbor who normally checks on her every morning.
They say if I see she answer, I jump the fence and go in. So I jump the fence, and when I go in, I find her lying down and foot tied up on she hand and she dead. And I just ran out of the house and I go home and tell them.
As her eldest son puts it, neighbors reported that they heard no unusual sound coming from the house, but found it strange that they had not seen Ali since Sunday afternoon. After viewing his mother's body tied up in the living room, he concluded that she had been beaten to death.
She was murdered. Shahan was tied behind her back and was brutally beaten.
It is unclear how the killers made entry into the home, but police are working on the theory that the killers are known to the woman. It's not the first time bandits attacked the woman, according to her son.
I know she complained me maybe once that someone went in her shop and stole a quantity of money and phone card. And she normally leave the phone card in her microwave. So when I come this morning, they say that the microwave was ripped open door. So the same person, I think they is under the police custody, and that's the same person who do the break and enter the last time and carry the phone cards.
Police dusted the crime scene for clues and took statements from neighbors and other family members. An autopsy is expected soon after the viewing of the body by the woman's imam and other Muslim officials.
Relative passed by yesterday to see her. The gate was padlocked inside, but I know her gate normally padlocks from inside. If she in or out, her gate normally padlock.
Robbery had been the motive, according to well-placed police sources, since several items were removed from the woman's home before she was murdered. Travis Chase, HGP Nightly News, Novar, Myconi.
At least 8 inmates have died at a prison in the city of Porto Velho in northwestern Brazil. The prisoners died from smoke inhalation after fellow inmates set mattresses alight in the Enio dos Santos jail in Rondônia state. The prison director said the clash was set off by the transfer of the leader of a criminal gang to the jail, which is controlled by a rival gang. Officials said there could be a link to a similar incident in Roraima state, where 10 inmates died in clashes on Sunday between a gang calling itself First Command of the Capital, or PCC, and their rivaled Red Command, according to state authorities. According to the reports, the incident in Roraima happened during visiting hours, where about 100 visitors were taken hostage and later freed. Police say the gangs had regained control of both jails. Police initially said 25 inmates had been killed, but the figure was later revised to a count just under 20. And on the international scene, Allied Iraqi forces say they are closing in on the ISIL stronghold of Mosul and are working to clear a key road between the city and Erbil. Here's more.
They tried to escape, but ISIL fighters weren't able to get too far. They've been on the defensive since the Iraqi army and Kurdish Peshmerga forces launched a coordinated military operation with U.S. backing to recapture Mosul. ISIL lost territory, some 200 square kilometers in outlying areas of the city. Peshmerga troops are now fortifying their defense lines, waiting for the next battle. In the distance is Hamdaniya, a district just 20 kilometers from Mosul city center. ISIL is still there.
We won't move to Hamdaniya. This will require cooperation with the Iraqi army. We will stay in this area.
According to the battle plan, the Peshmerga won't be advancing inside the city. That will be the mission of Iraqi troops. But these men will play a supporting role.
The forces battling ISIL are advancing on multiple fronts. We are east of Mosul, and it is the Peshmerga who are taking the lead here. South of Mosul, kilometers from where we are, the Iraqi army is making its way north. But those forces are still some distance from Mosul city.
9 villages in northern Iraq were recaptured from ISIL on day 1 of the offensive. Villages that were already depopulated, once inhabited by minority groups who escaped to areas under Kurdish control when ISIL captured much of central Iraq in 2014. They may not be able to return soon because this area is still very much an active battleground, and it will take time for basic services to be restored. ISIL once controlled 1/3 of Iraq. Its territory has slowly shrunk. This is the main highway between ISIL-controlled Mosul city and Erbil, the capital of the semi-autonomous Kurdish region in northern Iraq. The Peshmerga recaptured a significant stretch of this road. The troops are now looking for IEDs and booby traps left behind as ISIL forces pulled back. But there is still a long road to recapturing Iraq's second largest city.
Philippine President Rodrigo Duterte is due to arrive in China on Tuesday for a 4-day state visit in his first trip outside Southeast Asia. The visit could prove to be a crucial turning point for the two countries. CCTV's Barnaby Lowe has more from Manila.
Among the first diplomats Philippine President Rodrigo Duterte met after his election in May was China's ambassador Zhao Jianhua. If there were questions then about what that could have meant, the answer has come. Just 3 months into his presidency, Duterte is visiting Beijing. In those 3 months, Duterte has waged a deadly war on drugs that's been widely criticized by the West. In response, he's thrown some colorful words and declared an end to reliance on the United States while building new alliances, in particular with Russia and China.
It's understandable that President Duterte wants to emphasize the relationship with China more because we're coming from practically 6 years from the previous government of not having much cooperation or dialogue with China. Of course, how we want to do it and why we want to do it also depends very much on the attitude that China itself demonstrates towards the Philippines. No? So is it willing to also meet the Philippines halfway? Is it interested in a cooperative relationship?
China's ambassador to the Philippines says it is.
We know that President Duterte is concerned about fishermen. And we have the market, then we have the capital, then we have the interest. So that by further developing and engaging in fishery cooperation, we can contribute in variety measures or ways to the well-being of the fishermen.
It wasn't clear whether Zhao was referring to access for Filipino fishermen to the disputed Huangyan area of the South China Sea. President Duterte did say he will negotiate fishing rights, but he isn't expected to make a big push for the Philippines' sovereign claims in the South China Sea. Both sides agree there is a friendship that needs to be saved. That Manila has reputedly the oldest Chinatown in the world is a testament to the centuries-old friendship between China and the Philippines, a friendship that had been severely strained by territorial disputes in the South China Sea, but which appears now to be on the mend. For ordinary Chinese and Filipinos, the goodwill their governments are showing each other signals the beginning of a healing process.
And now for a look at today's weather. Present weather is cloudy. Winds are southeast to south-southeast at 6 to 12 miles per hour over land and peaking to near 14 miles per hour over coastal waters. Seas are locally rough with swells up to 8 feet. Warnings remain in effect for small craft operators and sea bathers against hazardous sea conditions. Sunset today will be at 5:47 p.m. and sunrise tomorrow will be at 6:03 a.m. That brings us to the end of the ZIZ Midday Newscast. Join us this evening for these stories and more in detail. Thank you so much for tuning in. I am Shaira Flanders. Have a good day.